7 things you would find on a city street 100 years ago. 1. Incandescent streetlights. Electric streetlights were first installed in Paris in 1878. They used unwieldy and harsh arc lamps. Incandescent light bulbs were patented in 1880. Incandescent street lamps became the norm in many cities. The 1920s saw a wave of patents for new street lighting. However, these lights weren't lining the whole street. They were only placed where they were needed. 2. Public phones. Alexander Graham Bell patented the first telephone in 1876. Soon after, public phones began appearing in the US. By the 1920s, wooden phone booths appeared on the streets, but they weren't popular as they were hard to maintain. You'd be more likely to find public telephone rooms. They contained multiple phone booths. 3. Model T Fords. The number of cars increased between 1900 and 1920. It went from 8,000 to 8 million. By 1929, there were over 23 million cars in America. The car of choice was the Model T Ford. Half of the registered automobiles were Model Ts. Pedestrians had to adapt to the new street rules. The ban on jaywalking was facilitated by car manufacturers. It made the streets a place for cars. 4. Child vendors. A million kids aged 10 to 15 were working in the US. The total population of kids in that age range was 12 million. They worked as flower sellers, shoe shines, and couriers. Children carried messages throughout the city. They facilitated daily commerce for banks and factories. More notable were the newsies. These were young children who sold newspapers. Some of them were as young as 5 years old. 5. Flappers and fedoras. 100 years ago, men walked the streets in 3-piece suits. They wore thin bow ties, wingtip shoes, and fedora hats. Sportswear became acceptable due to the popularity of golf. It brought +4 trousers and Oxford bag pants. Women's dresses were loose, straight, and slender. They had short hemlines. This was the flapper style of the Jazz Age. Clothing that was stylish and allowed women to move freely. New hairstyles completed the look. Bobs and waves became the defining cuts of the 20s. 6. Horses. Coal wagons and fire wagons used horse-drawn carriages. However, the heyday of horses was coming to an end. In 1916, there were 46,662 horse-drawn vehicles in Chicago. By the end of the 1920s, this number had plummeted. By 1940, there were fewer than 2,000 horse-drawn vehicles. In New York City, only one horse-drawn fire engine was left. It was retired in 1922. 7. Art Deco designs. The Art Deco style flourished in the US in the 1920s. It was present in art, architecture, and product design. The style is characterized by bold geometric patterns. It featured vibrant colors and glamorous details. It became synonymous with the Roaring '20s.